Alrighty. Today I wanted to talk about. Well, I wanted to start a new retro gaming talk series here. It's going to be I pick five of what I think to be really good games in a certain like genre or style, and we'll see how this goes. Um, so I thought I'd do action maze games for this first part. I'm gonna pick five what I think to be really good ones in the genre. It could be from the arcades. It can be from a console. It could be from an older, retro computer. Um, 70s, 80s, 90s. That's what I consider retro gaming. 70s, 80s, 90s. Um, and so let's get started. Um, so let's see. The first one that I got two Intellivision games on here that I'm gonna do. So the first one is um, it's a popular Intellivision game, Night Stalker. So Night Stalker, it's a you're going around a single screen maze, and you're fighting off like robots and stuff. I forget what else is it. Are they all robots or? Now some of these games I haven't played in a while, but I know that they're really good. It's a very fun game. I think you're collecting some things and trying to destroy the robots, and the maze design is kind of dark and eerie looking a little bit. From what I remember, it's like a blue background with a black. The maze setup is like black with a blue background. So it's a very fun game. One of the best games on the Intellivision, as many of you know. And so that's the first recommendation. The second one, though, is one I like more than Night Stalker. Um, it's a later Intellivision game from '86, Thunder Castle. So I consider this to be one of the very best Intellivision games. It's got a couple different maze layouts. Like there's one where you're gonna be fighting off like a dragon. I think that's the first like maze stage. Then there's like a dungeon and obviously castle stages. It's really fun. You collect things. You avoid baddies, but it's more interesting than it's a little bit more than a basic action maze game. Um, Definitely worth checking out. I highly recommend Thunder Castle. If that's not my favorite, it's in the top five television for Intellivision games. Period. And the next recommendation, it's got to be Lode Runner, one of the greatest like action maze style games. This one is not like this one looks kind of like a platformer, but it's more action maze than and you don't really do like actual platforming like jumping or anything like that. Lode Runner may actually be like the Lode Runner series may be my favorite action maze style game. It's absolute classic. I believe it originated on the Apple II in '83, I think, and there's multiple games in the series. There's several games in the series, and not only that though, not only like Lode Runner Championship Lode Runner. There's arcade games released by I think IREM that are good. There's versions on the NES. Um, but right here. I'm specifically talking about like the old computer, like Apple II Lode Runner. But the whole series, like in the knockoffs, are all good. The variants. But yeah, what I was getting at is what's really interesting is there are a lot of variants and knockoffs of Lode Runner, like um, like um, like offshoots. Um, for like the old computers, there's under different names, but it's like a very similar to Lode Runner. Like there's some on the TI-99 computer, the Tandy Color computer, the Coco. There's some on there, but yeah, Lode Runner and the whole series is really good. Highly recommended. I like the IREM arcade games too. Even though you can't see the whole screen, you have to like scroll. But I don't mind. I mean, they're all cool to me. I think I always enjoyed Lode Runner. The first, let's see, when I first played it, I think it was probably the NES game. That's probably when I first played it, and then I played the Apple II game. So I think those were my first two exposures to it. But yeah, might be my favorite action maze style game and set of games. Um, and the fourth recommendation I got is another great series of, it's like, I guess it would be action maze style, wouldn't it? I was thinking of Boulder Dash. Like it's action maze puzzle style game. I highly recommend this series too. First played it. Well, I guess I first played it on the NES and also one of the Commodore computers, either the 64 or the Amiga, maybe. I played it on the Apple II as well. That version. It started though on the Atari 8-bit computers, like the Atari 400 probably. So it started on there. I got to play that too, and probably my favorite version. There's even an arcade. There's arcade versions too. I think by Data East, and there's an arcade of the version of the original too, um, as well. But yeah, Boulder Dash, gotta recommend those too. Just like Lode Runner, some of my all-time favorite game series right there, Lode Runner and Boulder Dash. Like I said, there's several in the series. They're all from every single one that I've played. They're all fun. They've all been really fun. So if you've heard of these, probably heard of these games. If you haven't really gotten a chance to play them, definitely check them out. If you like action maze puzzle style stuff, it's one of my favorite styles of games for sure. Um, so they, so let's see, that's four, and I need one more that I'll do for this. Um, I'll be coming out with more later. This is just part one. Probably a different genre, but I'll come back to the action maze style games too. Um, so let's see. Okay, I'm gonna go with Trog by Midway. It's an arcade game. It also came out for the NES, though, possibly other systems. Trog is really fun. You're a dinosaur um, going around various mazes. There's different all different sets of them. It's not like the same maze over and over. Um, and you're like what, collecting eggs, and it's really good. Just a nice updated game on the classic maze style stuff of the 80s. It's good. I believe, like I said, it came out in 1990. I'm wanting to say 90 or 91. I'm thinking 90. Really fun game. I enjoyed it on the NES. I got to play it. I also played the arcade version later. Of course, that version's the best, but that's cool that it was on the NES too. I don't remember. I think it was faithful to the arcade version, probably a little easier. Um, but yeah, really fun. Trog. It's probably two player. I don't know. Maybe you could play like a co op or just you know, it's possible. I don't remember if you could do two-player co-op or not, but I think it's two-player. You could play with two players too. So yeah, Trog for sure. Very fun. Action maze style game. I think there's like a power up where you can get like really big and like eat the other dinosaurs or whatever. It's fun. Midway games are always fun. Okay, so two Intellivision games here: Night Stalker and Thunder Castle. Then we got Trog from Midway. Highly recommend the arcade game, but there's the NES game too. And of course, I also recommended the Lode Runner and Boulder Dash series of games. I'm just gonna recommend the whole entire like series of them. They're so good. For Lode Runner, the Apple II version, and like the arcade versions probably are my favorites, but anyway, that is part one of this series. I hope this does well, and I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy the video. I'll be coming out with more of these very shortly.